Sunday, March 29th, 2026, and we have some crazy weather to talk about and multiple days of severe weather possibly coming up. Let's get into it. Alright, so I want to bring my attention to one of, by far, our most recent, next coming up severe weather event, and it is on Tuesday, where we have a we have a marginal risk of severe weather that includes areas like Woodward, Eden, Stillwater, Altus, and going into Bartlesville. Now we're still very far out, but let's look at what we can see of these storms. Alright, so we have quite a few different views of this. First, let's look at the RRFSA. I think that usually this model overestimates things, but we still have other models to look at because all models can't quite agree on something quite yet. So let's look at what we can see. So the RRFS says that storms will be forming in the panhandle of Texas around 3 p.m. on Tuesday. They're going to start exploding as they go over the Texas and Oklahoma border. And that's probably when we're going to see our first severe thunderstorm just to the north of Elk City. Then they're going to get stronger. And it looks like we even got some reds popping up. So I think that indicates actually purples, maybe. So then we're going to have separate storms kind of looking like a line. But then it forms kind of like a cluster. Around 9 p.m. on your Tuesday, it's going to form what kind of looks like a cluster of storms just to the west of Oklahoma City and to the east of Elk City. And then it's gonna go into Oklahoma City around 12 a.m. That's when we're going to be going into our month of April. It's going to be an interesting start to April in Oklahoma City. I think by far one of the strongest periods is going to be around 6 to 8 p.m. Maybe even 9 p.m. But let's indicate something else trying to happen. Early on April 1st. I don't know what that is, but I wanted to bring my attention to this, but I do want to look at that. Oh, hold on. Before we stop this, I do want to see something. Look at that little cell up there to the north of Bartlesville. Peaking on the Kansas border, but mostly on the Oklahoma border. That could become severe, but then fizzle out around 11 p.m. And then once again, at 12 a.m., that's when it's going to crash into Oklahoma City. So let's look at something else real quick. For GFS. The GFS thinks that these storms are not going to perform that well. And they're going to be moving more into the Kansas area. But then it's because they think it's going to become a more Wednesday threat. So let's get into Wednesday, even though it doesn't have a severe weather risk yet. Now, once again, no severe weather risk on this yet, but I do want to turn my attention to the afternoon of Wednesday. We're going to have a squalling peeking in from Kansas into northern Oklahoma. Not that strong, it'll be around 1 p.m. But then, look out we have all these other little supercells forming in western and central Oklahoma. They could be something, but it looks like a lot of hail is going to be the threat for areas like Bartlesville and Tulsa, where we could see hail up to like half dollar size or ping pong ball size. Once again, no risk on this yet, but I do think we could see a risk get added later. Now, before we might have to transition to the GFS to see the rest of this, but it looks like around 10 p.m. it's going to be hitting Oklahoma City as a separate storm, which still looks really strong. Now it looks like these are all going to become clusters, and they're going to be separate, so it's going to be like a broken squall line. We're going to have multiple storms that produce pretty big hail, actually. And then they're just going to break off completely, and it's going to look like a big rain event with still some isolated hail and maybe even some severe weather. Now, let's transition over to the... Oh. Oops. My bad. Alright, so to what I was saying, it looks like the storms are gonna be moving, according to the GFS, the storms are gonna be moving out of Oklahoma around 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. That's when they're gonna be out of our big populated areas of Oklahoma. And it should fully be out of Oklahoma and out of our hairs around, let's say 5 a.m.-ish. But then, there are a few more things to talk about. So, let's get to that. So, on April 3rd, we should have a decent break until about 7 p.m. We're going to have pop-up storms forming near to the northwest of Oklahoma City and near Lawton. Now, don't believe this fully. This could be wrong because we are obviously super far out, so things are going to change. We don't even have SPC outlooks yet on these. So this could not even be severe storms. I want to still talk about them. But, they're going to be going, it looks like it might get severe in Stillwater. And then another storm pops up around 4 a.m. on April 4th. Sorry about that. My freaky recorder decided to stop recording. But, so there's going to be storm near McAllister around 4 a.m. And then a few more pop-up showers. Should be until 10:30, maybe 12 p.m., 11 a.m. But for your Easter forecast, are we going to have any severe weather to worry about on Easter? No. We do not need to worry about severe weather on Easter. Actually, it's going to be a beautiful Easter. So, we're going to be doing a separate forecast for your Easter at some point. So, we're not going to get super far into this. I just want to say that we will be doing a separate forecast for Easter. But I will say that we will have to worry about no rain or thunderstorms on Easter. So, let's get into the next segment. That is all the information I have for you today. We will be doing a video tomorrow and probably the day after. For more information about these storms. So bye for now, because we're still really far out. So bye for now.